CFR Network, CFR News. Welcome back. Good day, good day, good night. Niha, Shalom, Ashe, all of the universal greetings. Back in the lab, diligently working, enjoying this here sun, even though it's raining today.
Yes.
Returning guests.
Ding, 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 ding.
And now, the man, the myth, the quote-unquote legend himself, Imdaya, in the lab. What's happening, sibling?
I'm blessed, my brother. I'm blessed. Happy to be here, breathing, first and foremost. You know what I mean? I think I got my mental faculties, you know what I mean? They're all straight. So, yeah, when they're right, you got to feel blessed, you know?
Definite, man. You have to give thanks every time, man. Every
Yeah.
time. But yeah, man, we had to bring it back, man. We had to bring it back. And touch a little bit more, well, not even a little bit more, get into a lot more detail in regards to another element and persona. I did introduce you as an artist, but we didn't touch too much on the musical element, you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
let's take that journey, sibling, you know what I mean?
Yeah, man. Yes. So how you want to tackle that one then?
All right, then. So let's go before you was even on the creative level. What kind of musical influences did you have growing up? What was you dealing with?
Well, I grew up in the church, so like secular music wasn't really allowed like that in my household. So a guy like me, like my first sort of secular influence was an artist called Arrow. Um,
Okay.
Soca Calypso artist in the Caribbean.
And where's
Um,
Arrow from, sibling? Come on, come on.
Arrow's from Montserrat, you know.
Exactly. Yeah. So you
It's a
going like
couple
sibling, I
minutes
know
from.
you talk.
Listen, but this is how we get the build. You know what I mean? I got to let you do your journalistic questioning, and I got the answers for you, man.
Oh, good sibling. Oh, good. Yeah, man. Legend. And he's obviously had didn't he have the studio there as well?
Yeah, now as a boy, I didn't get to see nothing from that side, but this is the thing. Like I was sort of like, what's the word? Like enamored by that lifestyle. Like, I just knew
Yes.
this guy's famous.
Yeah,
I hear
man.
this track, feeling hot, 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 hot.
Mm.
This track everywhere, like you're just hearing it. And what people didn't know, like he owned like a clothing store that used to sell like the latest American garments. That's where you like people on the island would go and get their Jordan kicks from. Like if you wanted like the fresh kicks,
Yeah.
like some of the freshest wear, you go to his shop. Yeah. So every now and then you'd see him as well. He's just a normal dude. Like, so that's like my first like that's a star. Like even for me, I didn't know he was a international superstar, like Arrow.
Yes.
Feel me?
Yes.
So I'm just
Mm-hmm.
observing, like, okay, he's got a shop, he's popular, like it's just a vibe. That was my first like introduction to an artist who's got a vibe. You feel me? And
Legend, man.
that's so we're talking Arrow. Um, I love the Brat. Obviously, I'm talking like my origin story
Yeah, man,
sort
of
of thing.
course, man. That's what we want. That's exactly what we want,
Chris
man.
Cross.
Chris, jump.
Truth,
Yep.
yeah, come on. Truth, I was so into like basketball them days when Shaq started rapping. When you
Oh,
rap with Biggie, I think that's probably as a I was like Biggie Smalls, like. You understand? I'm starting to get into Biggie Smalls and
Hey, let's stick with Shaquille O'Neal because that brother is highly underrated. Whether someone ghost writ his shit, right? That first album that he came out with, which was what, 94, was it maybe around that kind of time?
yeah,
That was dope.
dope. Telling you, and even I didn't even appreciate. I mean, for the I said the pop element of it, yeah, Shaq's album, I was with it, but not being a technical hip hop fan, then I didn't even appreciate like, yo, what he really executed. You know what I mean?
Definitely,
So
man.
in
Very much
hindsight,
a
that's legendary
slept
stuff.
on album, I would say.
Yeah, 100%, hundred
Brat
percent.
Chris Crosser, you was down with that So Def era. You was riding that So Def era, Brat Chris Cross. Yeah, yeah.
Trust me. The Brat's like delivery, how she just used to rip shit. Like that was, I love that. And then I'd say like around 96, 97, I'm old school with it. Like I'm talking when Jay-Z and them man really started
Mm,
hitting. Like that's where I was like Nas, Jay-Z, Big
okay.
You know what I mean? Them
So I noticed you
kind of
mentioned.
things there.
I noticed you
And that's kind of
mentioned.
like the lane I kind of stayed in.
Yeah. I hear that. But your sibling, you're missing. I'm sure you're missing one legendary pioneer. You know what I mean? Who's been often duplicated. I'm sure you didn't mention that, brother.
Which one we talking about? Tupac?
Yes, man. Our Gemini season with that there in Regins. Come on.
I mean? Yeah,
Definitely.
Tupac. Nah, this brother. So even we come into him because this is the other thing. So even from early days, Tupac, like where he sort of captivated me was like the rebelliousness, like
Yes.
and then quickly you learn about his theatrical background, the fact that this is an art form. He was one of the first rappers for me to understand, like, yo, this, because I've always loved writing. Like, my whole thing was always literature comprehension, reading stories, breaking it down. That's my thing.
Yeah.
So, like, when I realized I like to articulate myself, that was just a totally different thing. So even back then, when I'm talking about all these rappers, I'm talking like even a mad reference, but Coolio Gangsta's Paradise. Like I used to go to recite people's songs from top to bottom from a young age. Like they really think nothing of that, obviously, but in hindsight, I think okay, that made sense.
Yes.
I've got a catalog of bars in my head that sometimes I don't even know how I remember it. A beat can trigger like a 64 bars that I didn't know I had in my head. Obviously, I do, but do you know what I'm trying to say?
Yes.
So but that was that muscle being built then, if that makes sense, to sort of catalog bars.
Yeah.
But yeah, Tupac was where the art form behind rap I started to understand that.
Yes.
Tupac was where the purpose behind, like, I guess in some ways, sort of fulfilling your purpose, if your purpose is one that involves your voice. Some people get that a little twisted. All of our purposes don't involve our voices, but very few of us really, like, I think we're meant for that. And Tupac made me feel that differently.
Yes.
And even to be an oxymoron, if that makes it, because I'm a living oxymoron. Like, you know, this is why they call you bitch, but Brenda's got a baby. It's like, how do you create that and
Polarities.
drop in the similar? Yeah, is that allowed? Is it not allowed? But then you understand what it is to be a man. Yeah, of course, because in different contexts, you know, this might be what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, Tupac, big. I was coming to him because it's like around the time when he started beefing is where I had to really realize how much I do love Tupac when it came to Biggie and these sort of things. So yeah, and I was in high school them days in New Jersey, in America. So when you're talking about some of them things going on at the time, like that was like I was close to the energy of some of it. You feel me?
Yeah.
But yeah, man.
In Brick City. So I guess there would have been a small pardon self, there would have been a small minority of people who would have been potential Tupac fans, but it would have been the masses who would have been like Biggie all the way. It's East Coast all the way, you know what I mean?
100%. But you know, because Tupac had ties to New Jersey, like with
Yes.
Tretch and them,
Tretch.
he did have. There was always like a handful of people that was always cool with Pac. But you know, he took he played the heel well, and he just ran with it, and that's what got to people. Like he basically embraced that he was the heel, and he embraced how he appeared to the masses. Too much for some people. So even where they kind of sided with him, and you can hands down say shut him up, diss track, come on, you can't say nothing to it. But it's kind of like when Jay-Z did the whole condoms in your baby shit. It's like, jigger, like, but you can't say that's not a point. It's a point. No matter how flagrant it is, it's a point. He took it there. And Tupac was never afraid to just take it there.
All the way there.
It's quick.
Raw, authentic, real. You know what I mean? As you're highlighting, that that phase and that material which was created, and then multiple years after with the double albums and the Till the End of Time and all that kind of stuff, that cemented the legacy of, you know what I mean, to say, look, this is the standard. If you want to be an artist, if you want to be a successful, popular artist with meaning and integrity, let's put it out there. Let's talk about the nasty side. Let's not just glorify, yo, I'm bubbling, you know what I mean, I'm flossing hard. This and no. Let's talk about mums was a crackhead and all them thing there.
100%. Yes. And that transparency, that honesty is like why people fell in love with Tupac. Do you know what I mean?
Facts.
You can always see a bit of yourself in that guy, no matter who you felt you were. There's a little bit of yourself you could see in him, or what, you know what I mean? Relatable.
Definitely.
You can see yourself, like you felt like you knew someone who was a Tupac or Jace in their own version of it. You know what I mean? Yeah, man. He was one of them artists. He was a time, and then even as we talk about him, I'm really starting thinking about DMX.
Shit, yeah.
You know?
Rising Paradise.
There's like a when you talk about the transparency. And one thing I want to mention about Pac, which is equal for Biggie, but Tupac's was a bit more. I'm gonna sound morbid, but somewhat appealing. But they're how they rapped around and to do with death. Tupac's was more interesting because he already created this Machiavellian.
Yeah.
Which is why to this day some people still think he's alive, because the inception of that he gave us, like. I don't think people rate it. No, I don't know if it should be rated. So maybe that's not the word, but it's different.
It's different. Masterful, you know, is what it was. He almost spoke it into existence. Everything was planned everything musically was planned meticulously in regards to
like the Shakespeare type side of him.
Yeah. That was looking at the bigger picture, looking, as you say, as looking at it as an art form rather than I'm just here rapping. I'm spitting 16. That's it. I'm getting the no. This is why this man's work is still relevant and poignant today.
Trust me.
And listen, this is to all artists, whether it be musical artists, but you've got to have integrity, and you've got to think, you've got to put your all into what you're doing. You know what I mean?
You do 100%, my brother.
Because you're playing within the arts.
Manners. Have a good weekend, yeah.
And the arts are, they're a snapshot of that particular moment in time, but at the same time, it's timeless, because as long as there's humans to be able to appreciate, to discuss, 100%. To explore this said artwork, you know what I mean? It's there, it's permanent.
100%.
So okay, we're in this here. So Park Biggie 98. So let's jump a little bit to when you started to conceptualize and actually, outside of being able to memorize and just regurgitate these, Gangsta's Paradise and all everything there. And I'm pretty sure you would have got the Bone Thugs and Harmonies one.
Ooh, yes. Come on. That's what I'm saying. There's so many little influences, man. Like definitely them as well.
Spitters, man. Spitters. Because that is a style, like the fast spitting. There was a couple fast spitters, but like Bone Thugs. Let's do it in order. Tongue Twister, aka Twister. That's the original Dan Dada when it comes to spitting fast bars. Then we come with the Bone, Mo Thugs, Crucial Conflicts, And then you'd have a couple rappers. Occasionally they'll do a song. Mr. Cook and Flip. I would say
too quick.
Yeah, he does like rapid fire type songs. Like Buster can spit ridiculously fast as well at times. You know, there's mans who, you know, they can do it, but it's not like for instance, the king of fast spitting is Twister, hands down.
Yeah. Twister is the king of that. Buster, I'm gonna say like an emperor to it, but Twister really, the Twister be the syllable, his syllable
Everything is
application,
crystal clear.
with the clarity,
Mm,
it's
yes,
something else.
yes, and and most importantly, sibling, making sense.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, these ain't words for words' sakes.
Nah,
Shit.
cohesive sort of thing at the end of it. I
mean, I suggest everybody go peep, press pause right now, go load up your Spotify or wherever you listen to your music and go pump that Adrenaline Rush 1997 Twister album. That slaps.
Yeah, what was my track on that?
You had the first one, the track number. Yeah.
I'm sure it's a track called Adrenaline
Yes,
Rush.
the very first one, Adrenaline Rush, the slow rhythm and psychodramas on there. Yes. I'm bringing it back, man. I'm making the memories flood back, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I just remember that cadence. Can't forget that cadence.
And then we got Warm Embrace as well. Remember that Warm Embrace track? He's talking about the gun.
Yes.
Come on, man. Feel so good. Listen, that whole album slaps. Right. Press play. Outside of the skits, which are a bit silly, I think, you know, my only criticism of the album, the skips should have been separate rather than, you know, bunched onto the end of the track. Okay. But this is it, man. This is showing. This is building the picture of the universal kind of influence, because you do get some people, some artists who are quite, I would say, very much coastal bias. So there's a lot of people who are very East centric. You know what I mean? Don't mess with I mess with a little bit of Snoop or something, you know, a little bit here and there or something, you know, maybe a little bit of pop, maybe, but nah, it's East for me, man. East all the way. Cool G Rap, DJ Polo, Flavor Unit, Queen Latifah. You know, that's
sure everybody love. I'm not like a coastal sort of like according to what, you know what I mean? But I'm definitely a content guy. I mean, so even sort of to backtrack a bit to the question, like where I really started to sort of formulate me. I'm gonna say we're talking around probably Dipset days, the locks around like when Dipset was really, I think, can't remember the exact year, but I remember it was around that time I laid or attempted to lay something, and I was like, well, I actually sounded right. Before that, I used to freestyle, like, just fade size. You comb that out, see that's like, and I actually sounded all right. So man, I'm like a serious fan, like hip hop. So I didn't even really want to get in a booth and disrespect hip hop. That's how I felt.
Scene.
Like, but when I listen back, like, nah, come on, like that's all right. Like, you know what I mean? I can't. If I can remember my first bars.
So we're probably talking what 01, 02, probably 01 to 03, that kind of time.
Yeah, somewhere around there. Yeah, somewhere around there, I'd say definitely.
That's when Dipset was firing in it.
Yeah, like a young me in New Jersey, like my older cousin, which would have been like one of my first sort of experiences with like freestyling, and always big him up for this. Yeah, my older cousin Ekan Baptiste. Yeah, when we used to drive up because he went to college upstate New York. Mm-hmm. To drive to Iona, and he's the first person that I learned like this whole. We're gonna use the names of like shops and whatever we see and with freestyle. He was into Busta Rhymes, Boot Camp Click, them ones there. You know?
Yeah. Black Moon.
That's another vein of hip hop that kind of is part of my foundation sort of thing. So we used to just play around, like just free. So that was where I first started freestyling. So I got good because I was confident to say stupidness. I was all right, yeah.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
then I remember a mate of mine around the Dipset days, again messing around freestyling. He got angry. He's like, "Nah, if you can, if you're not, um, why are you even doing it if you're not gonna be serious? Because enough man can't even write and rap like that, and you're just here taking a piss, like." Yeah, he was really, yo, man, he was vexed with me, my brother. I'm telling you. And this is around '04, because my daughter was born, my first child, my firstborn, 2005. Yeah.
Mm.
So this is around them days, and this was in my house. This guy was on my sales team. He used to take people out selling them, basically doing canvassing in
Yes.
town centers. Yeah, gas. This is when gas and electricity first got deregulated. Like,
Oh,
you know
yes,
what I mean? Like,
indeed. I remember those
come on,
days
come on.
clear.
I'm
Train
one of them guys
stations,
who's,
all that there.
yeah, come on. Anybody for push chairs getting signed up. That ones.
Hey, yo, but yo, y'all were
Yeah,
pushing some
he's a
good
good one.
deals, man.
That'd be a Spotify shit. Yeah, yeah.
Some hella good deals were being transacted in those times. Because I remember I hooked up with who was it?
I
Remember
gripped too tight.
who was it?
You was
Virgin
pissing
Media.
something out my head.
Them Richard Branson. He came with the thing and came up.
Sorry, sibling. My
No, no, don't
barber's
worry, man. Don't worry, man. Listen, I'm saying the deals them times were dope, right? Because
yeah,
I remember
yeah.
I got a deal via Richard Branson when he was on that energy tip, and I was paying some pittance in comparison to everybody else, man.
Nah, for real. For real. It's a
Olden
totally
days, man.
different thing there. Them
Mm.
days there. But yeah, that's when I started. I'm like, right, I'm gonna start writing. And that album, my first mixtape, you can still get that on SoundCloud. It's called The Product of Hard. 16 tracks on there. That
I don't know
mixtape
what.
got reviewed. It's called The Product of Hard Work.
Ah,
That's on SoundCloud. And that's my debut mixtape to the game. That's the mixtape that sort of put me in. It got reviewed by Hip Hop Connections back then.
oh
I'm just
shit.
glad I didn't keep that edition. Somebody, probably an ex at the time, probably burned it. I don't know. But yo, I got like a 4-star rating.
Proper
I can't remember
thing.
who it was, but one of our, like, according to whoever does the reviews,
Mm.
but one of our favorites, a legend, like my mixtape rated higher than his, like, and it did all right. It did all right. Like, for what I think I'd pressed up. This is pressing up mixtapes
Yeah.
days,
Yes.
1,000 units.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I remember selling. So I worked at a call center at the time as well. So
You bringing it.
I'm like a Del boy. I sell
You bringing
clothes.
it back, sibling. Call center work. I know exactly what you're talking
Bro,
about, man.
telling you. So when everybody got paid that Friday, yo, I had like about 200 copies of my CD, like ready.
Yep. Ready.
I was on the preview thing where I'd done something like, I was always a bit different with it. That's why I'm even into the editing now. But all my 16 tracks, I think I did this mad little couple of seconds snippet of each of them, and made it all one track, so it's unskippable. And I just gave out loads of that free before, like, we got back the press copies.
Yes.
So by this time, people have already picked their favorites.
Yes.
And they've been forced to kind of like listen to everything that's coming. Do you know what I mean? So